Hi everyone, this is Sam from BoardAtWork.com, and today we're taking a look at the Galaxy Note 4 from Samsung, released October of 2014. This is the newest flagship from Samsung, but we're doing something different today. We're not doing a battle, but we're doing a comparison against this, the LG G3, which is the latest, greatest, bestest, everythingest, mostest, whatever from LG. A beautiful phone and a great contender when it comes to the 5.5 and up screen size smartphones, what you all would like to call and what most people would call phablets. Why? Because I guess they're a blend between tablets and phones. Why not taphones? Whatever, but we'll keep going. Now, both of these devices, as I just mentioned, are above the 5.5 screen display. So we're basically going to look at how each of these stack up feature-wise against the other. Now, right off the bat, I'm just going to read you some specs about each of this device. Both of these devices come with about 3 gigs worth of RAM. So yes, the LG G3 and the and the Note 4 are matched in terms of RAM. Now let's look at processor speed. Now processors in these are pretty different, right? The LG G3 uses a, I believe this is a Snapdragon 801, whereas the Note 4 uses a Snapdragon 805. So we're looking at both of these devices again. Now, as I mentioned, the difference in processing power, they're both quad-core, one at 2.7 and the other one at 2.5. Now we'll jump on to capacity. Both of these have about 32 gigs of storage space in there, so we're looking about the same. I think the LG G3 might have the option for either 16 or 32, not quite sure, but I know both of these right now have about 32 gigs of memory capacity in them. However, they both also have micro SD cards in there, so regardless of whatever they have in there, you can always expand it to give yourself more storage space. So yeah, it's once again, they tie, in essence, on the amount of space on these devices. Now, let's take a look at some of the things where both of these take I would say a huge departure from one another. Now, first off, you would notice that these phones are designed quite differently. Now, we'll start with the LG. Over here, the LG definitely has a, what I would say is a very different design language from the Samsung. As you can tell, the Samsung to me looks like something I would expect to see definitely at work, something more streamlined for, you know, that professional, someone who wants a phone with clean lines, no real curves, very nice. But the LG G3 is more for someone who's kind of more stylish. They got a little bit of style in there. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at what the features are just on the design on the G3. So put you aside, Mr. Note 4. All right, first off, we're going to give you the biggest difference in design here is that you have no buttons on any side of the Note 4, I'm sorry, of the G3 except on the rear. Yes, the buttons on the G3 are all on the rear of the device. You have both your volume rocker and your power/sleep button on there. So yeah, you are basically, you know, using a device that's vastly different from any other phone you're going to use simply because of that. The design of this phone is quite solid. This phone is basically made up of what you would call a faux brushed metal design on the back and plastic. So it's a plastic and faux metal design around here. So basically plastic all around. Which is also a big departure from what they've done on the Note. Now I'll shift this aside and bring the Note in. So the Note now has a faux leather back, in a sense plastic, in essence I should say plastic, but it's a faux leather and metal design. So the edges right here are all metal, which is actually pretty cool and lends that extra 20 grams, or actually no, more like 26 grams of weight to the Note 4, leaving it feeling a lot more solid than its competitor here, which is the LG G3. So overall, style-wise, I'll kind of leave that on, you know, personal taste kind of judgment there. It's a personal taste kind of thing. But overall, I think, hey, I'm leaning more to the LG G3 because I like the design of this. It fits really well into your hand, and just the fact that you have such thin bezels mean that you don't have as much phone as you have on the Note 4 when you're carrying it around. So it really makes it a lot more portable than the Note 4. Now let's move on. Now we're going to talk about that beautiful screen we were just talking about, the 5.5 versus the 5.7 IPS. Super AMOLED. So let's keep going here. I've put the same wallpaper here, and I've cranked the brightness on both of this all the way up. So yes, total brightness. We'll take it all the way to max. So display, brightness, the brightness all the way up. So you're seeing these at about, in essence, the same. I guess the same settings, and we're looking at this, and yes, you can tell I think Samsung kind of wins on the brightness of the screen, just how vibrant the screen looks. The Super AMOLED, the Active Matrix OLED basically is given just a little bit more than you're finding the IPS display. However, both of these resolution-wise are pretty identical. You're taking a 2560 by 1440 on both of these, and actually the IPS display is giving you more pixel density at about 538 pixels per inch versus what you're getting on the Super AMOLED, which is 515 pixels per inch. So spec-wise, LG has it. The actual look in real life, I'm sorry, but Samsung kind of takes this. So the Note 4 yet again. Now remember, it's not a shootout really. It's more of a, how do these phones do what they do differently? Both of these screens are amazing. These are Quad HD screens, so you're not going to find too many other devices out there that are going to look better than these than the screen you're seeing here. So these are basically top of the line screens. So yes, you might say, yeah, the Samsung is just that much brighter, but it's only like that much brighter, like really more like that much better, really not that much. So it's basically a different way of addressing the same thing. You have a Quad HD screen, one's giving you IPS technology, the other's giving you AMOLED. So let's move on from there. Now we're going to go basically next to display, how you access the display, and this is something that I think LG G3 just basically knocks out of the park. When I say how you access the display, as you can see, every time I have to turn the screen off, basically, or I have to turn the screen on, I should say, I have to hunt down the button on the side here for the Samsung and push on there. LG has made this a lot better, given the fact that you have no buttons on the side of the phone. So hey, there we go, tapping on the screen and it turns on. Here, let's see if I can do this instead. Oh yeah, I can do that and it turns on, but I think the tap loose lens itself is being that much more efficient. You know, it doesn't matter if my phone is upside down, I don't have to reach any further, I can still turn the phone off, turn the phone on. Whereas if I had the phone on here and I wanted to turn the screen off real quickly, no, damn it, turn off, no, it doesn't work. So the convenience on that, for that tap function on the display is really comes in handy when you're looking at the LG G3. So on that point, I'll say the LG has really done something innovative that Samsung really hasn't done. And it will really behoove Samsung to try to do something like that because, hey, it's useful. It's really useful. And for a company that tries almost everything, Samsung might as well just try that. Now, we're going to move on also to fingerprint sensor. Yeah, the LG G3 has no fingerprint sensor whatsoever, whereas the Samsung Note 4 has a fingerprint sensor, the same place you have the home button right there. Now, that's actually a big departure from, actually, I shouldn't say a big departure. That's actually a huge addition to what you find from the Note 3, which didn't have a fingerprint sensor. The S5 actually introduced the fingerprint sensor into the Galaxy line, and the Note is basically building on what the S5 has done. So that's actually a really great improvement. Now, next thing we're going to ask for is a heart rate monitor. Oh, we'll flip this around. We do have a heart rate monitor here. A heart rate monitor is the new it thing. So hold over from the S5. So it's the new another one of those new features that's going to be on the on Samsung's flagship devices. So actually, yeah, that is something else that the Note 4 has that you wouldn't find on the LG G3. Now, it's up to you to decide how useful that is for your particular lifestyle or not, but these are features that people are more and more beginning to demand, and it behooves LG to try to go ahead and actually include these features on its flagship devices going forward, especially given the fact that the LG G3, which came out in May, did come out after the original S5, so LG was aware that people are looking for this amazing feature. Now, we'll jump over to camera, so let's flip this around and jump over to camera. Both of these cameras are actually pretty nice cameras. We have about a 13 megapixel camera on the LG G3, while we have a 16 megapixel camera on the Note 5, the Note 4, sorry, I'm going a year ahead, right? Now, on the Note 4, both of these devices have optical image stabilization. So yes, you should get pretty clear, balanced pictures from both of these, and you have pretty amazing, camera footage, because, it compensates for the shaking. So both of these cameras are actually pretty darn good. And they both shoot at 4K, and they both output at 4K. But what does LG do? What does LG bring to the table that the Note 4 doesn't? Well, LG brings a laser focus, making the focus on here just fractionally faster than what you might see on the S4. Yes, I used it, and it might just be the case where, a personal preference, but I believe the LG G3 did focus a lot faster than I had my Galaxy Note 4. It might be the fact that my settings are different and whatnot, but I tried to make this as equal a test as possible. So camera-wise, LG definitely innovates with that laser autofocus on there.
Alright guys, now this is a test of the LG G3 and the Samsung Note 4 video in daylight, Ocean Parkway. Well, both of these are filming at 4K, one using the 13 megapixel and the other using the 16 megapixel camera, both using OIS, and we want to see if the quality of these when output are identical, or which one of these is better. Once again, this is Sam for BoredAtWork.com, and on your left you have your Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and on the right we have the LG G3.
Now, battery life, which is the all-important battery life. The thing is, if you're going to be buying phones like this and they're this big, they might as well have batteries in there that actually can last a full day. Now, coming in at 3,000 milliamp hours and 3,220 milliamp hours, 220 milliamp hours isn't a big deal unless, now this is a big one, unless that 220 milliamp hours is needed at one of those I need to have my phone on moments. Then it is pretty much a really big deal. So on specs alone, I would say that goes definitely to the Note 4. So 3,200 milliamp hours is a big deal. 3,200 milliamp hours or 3,220 milliamp hours is only 20 milliamp hours more than you got on its predecessor. So it's not a big deal in terms of upgrade, but comparing both of these devices, yes, it is somewhat of a big deal. So that's about it. You should be able to get a full day of use from both of these devices. I never had a problem when using this as my daily driver to go from, one day to the next, especially when I had power saving on. And I haven't had a problem for a whole week of using this when it comes to day-to-day use or running out of battery. I've actually used this for a day and a half on the same charge. So that's actually pretty cool. Now, where does Note 4 actually differentiate itself when it comes to the battery war is simply the Note 4 has ultra battery saving mode. Well, the ultra battery saving mode means that you could probably get a decent amount of battery life from your phone after it's hit like the teens by switching it over to ultra battery saving mode, which basically cuts down a lot of transition features, screen brightness, just everything. It basically takes it to the most necessary features that you need to make basically phone calls and notifications, or phone calls and SMSs. So basically that's it. Now these two devices are pretty amazing. Another way that Samsung has differentiated itself when it comes to batteries is basically the fast charge mode. Basically what happens in the fast charge mode is I can go from 0 to 50% of a charge in less than 30 minutes on my Galaxy Note 4, something that I am not able to do on the LG G3. Well, on the battery technology side, or should I say on the charging technology side, that makes the Note 4 a more, or I would say definitely a more attractive buy than the LG G3. Now we will be moving on to the next feature on here. Now the fingerprint sensors, we've already touched on that. Heart rate monitors, we've already touched on that. So we would go next to the biggest difference between the Note 4 and basically every other smartphone or phablet out there is this. It's stylus. Now, people would say the stylus went away, back in the days of the Palm, or when you had your Palm PCs. So no, it didn't go away. It's being brought back, and being brought back in style, because now you have the stylus, which basically gives you a lot more sensitivity than it did on its predecessor, the Note 3, and you can use this stylus to do quite amazing things, especially taking notes. And right there, amazing. That is just simply amazing. The stylus really adds a lot of productivity, or productivity usage to your Note 4, which you really don't get on any other phablet out there, and that's a big differentiator. If you're going to plunk down the kind of money you're putting down on a Note 4, you better make sure it's not just a fun consumption device or content consumption device. It can also be used as a creation device, adding a lot more value to this particular device than you would find on any other device out there, save maybe some tablets and laptops, or desktop PCs as well, if we want to go there. But all in all, I would say these two devices do two very different things in, should I say, do the same things in two very different ways. Both devices I would recommend to anyone who, asks me, what would you recommend for a new, for a new smartphone, or who's really willing to get into the high end of smartphones, because both of these devices basically are meant, I wouldn't say for totally different people, but have their nuances to where if I was more interested in style, I would definitely go with the LG G3. And if I was more interested in functionality, definitely I'll be going for the Note 4. Now, like I mentioned, the processor, really, the little difference or the spec bump in processor from the Samsung really doesn't do much to, boost performance here. So performance-wise, on just the processor level, you're not really getting much of a difference. Where you are getting the difference from is the fact that you have that fast charging. So for someone who is really on the go most of the time, that 30 minutes of sitting down and plugging in your phone really means a lot more than it would on the LG G3. For someone who takes a lot of picture and you have to pull up that camera and take pictures right away, boom, you would notice that the LG G3 is a much better picture taking experience than the Note 4, because it launches the camera faster, it focuses a lot faster with that laser focus. So that's definitely the device for you if that's what you're going to be using your device for. Now, if you're going to be using your device to create, now this is the point where the Note 4 just takes it away. There's no way you can beat the use of a stylus on the screen with any other phone out there, because the use of that stylus really adds a lot of creativity, a lot of note taking. Let me put it this way: I have not used a paper and pen since I got this device, because all my notes are now on my Note 4, links to my Evernote, and I have my notes wherever I go. All in all, like I said, they found ways of doing the same thing with two very different approaches, and two very beautiful designed phones. Once again, this is Sam for BoredAtWork.com. This is the LG G3, and that is the Note 4 from Samsung. As always, enjoy your entertainment.